Imagine standing in front of someone whose presence alone can make you feel at peace. A person who has dedicated their entire life to spreading kindness, understanding, and wisdom to the world. A person whose every word feels like a deep breath, calming your mind and soul. This was exactly the experience Selena Gomez had when she met the Dalai Lama. But this moment wasn't just another celebrity handshake or a fleeting encounter. It was something far deeper, more transformative. For Selena, this was not just a chance to meet a global figure. It was a life-changing moment that would resonate with her in ways she never expected. You see, in that brief, quiet exchange, the Dalai Lama wasn't just offering his hand or even his smile. He was offering something much more profound, a lesson on how to truly live with purpose, to embrace compassion, and to understand the depth of our shared human experience. Selena, who had already been facing her own internal struggles with anxiety and the weight of public expectation, found herself deeply affected by this meeting. This wasn't just about meeting an icon. It was about connecting with a philosophy that could help her heal, grow, and ultimately find her voice in a world that often demands perfection at the cost of mental peace. In that quiet moment, with the Dalai Lama placing his hands gently on her head, Selena felt something shift inside her. A sense of calm she hadn't known in a long time. It wasn't just a gesture, it was a blessing, a transfer of wisdom, and a reminder that true peace comes not from fame, fortune, or external validation, but from within. As Selena later shared on social media, the encounter left her speechless. How could words capture the magnitude of such a powerful moment? The truth is, sometimes the most meaningful experiences in life aren't the ones that can be easily described. They're the ones that resonate deep within, things we feel but cannot put into words. But that meeting did more than just bring peace to Selena in that moment. It set her on a journey of self-discovery and mental healing. It reminded her of an ancient Buddhist truth, that in order to truly help others, we must first be kind to ourselves. It was a teaching that would stay with her for years, guiding her through the challenges of fame, anxiety, and self-doubt. Today, as we look back on that pivotal moment between Selena Gomez and the Dalai Lama, we uncover the Buddhist secret behind it all. It's not about fame, politics, or surface-level encounters. It's about how we treat ourselves and others with compassion, how we embrace vulnerability, and how we find peace amidst the chaos of life. This story isn't just about a celebrity. It's about all of us, and how we can tap into that secret wisdom to live fuller, more compassionate lives. So ask yourself, what would it take for you to experience that same inner peace? What would it mean for you to embody compassion, not just in your actions, but in your heart? Maybe, just maybe, the secret is already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. In October of 2014, Selena Gomez found herself at We Day, an event designed to inspire young people to not only dream big, but take action to make the world a better place. Held in Vancouver, this movement brings together thousands of students from all over the globe, empowering them to spark change and create positive social impact. It's a celebration of hope, compassion, and the power of unity. And for Selena, it wasn't just another event. It was the perfect stage for an encounter that would shift the course of her life in ways she never expected. At the heart of We Day was a message about finding purpose in life and dedicating yourself to something greater than yourself. And for Selena, standing in the midst of this vibrant, energy-filled room, something truly transformative was about to happen. This wasn't going to be just another celebrity moment. No, this was about connecting with something much deeper, a philosophy rooted in wisdom, peace, and inner tranquility. As Selena stepped onto the stage, the crowd erupted with applause. But it wasn't just the crowd's energy that filled the air. It was something intangible, something spiritual. There, in front of her, stood a man whose life embodied those very ideals: peace, compassion, and mindfulness. It was none other than the Dalai Lama. For many, meeting such a revered figure might have been an overwhelming experience, but for Selena, it felt like a moment of deep resonance, a kind of soul-level recognition. The Dalai Lama didn't just offer words of wisdom. He offered a way of being, a perspective on life that transcended the pressures of fame and success. In that instant, Selena realized that everything she had been chasing, acclaim, attention, validation, wasn't where true happiness or peace resided. It was in something far more profound. The Dalai Lama's teachings, rooted in compassion, self-awareness, and mindfulness, resonated deeply with her. This wasn't just about a brief interaction. It was a reminder of what truly matters in life. As the Dalai Lama greeted her, there was no rush, no expectations, just a quiet exchange, a silent understanding between two souls. Selena wasn't just meeting a global icon, she was meeting someone who lived and breathed the very principles that she had been yearning for in her own life. The experience didn't just end with a handshake or a smile. It marked the beginning of a deeper spiritual connection, a reconnection to the values that go beyond the superficialities of celebrity culture. In that moment, Selena understood something important. True peace and fulfillment don't come from the spotlight, from the applause of a crowd, or from external accolades. They come from within. And it was in that moment that she understood the secret of the Buddhist teachings. The path to true happiness and meaning comes through cultivating compassion, embracing vulnerability, and nurturing the connection we have with ourselves and others. Selena's encounter with the Dalai Lama that day wasn't just a photo op or a fleeting moment of celebrity. It was the beginning of a journey back to her true self, grounded in compassion, peace, and purpose. And from that point on, her path was forever changed. Selena had always been deeply passionate about giving back. From an early age, she understood the power of kindness and the impact it could have on those around her. It wasn't just about doing good deeds. It was about spreading love and compassion in a world that often felt so divided. Through her work, she tried to inspire others to do the same, to live with intention, to make a difference, no matter how small. But little did she know, in that very moment at Wee Day, standing next to one of the most revered spiritual leaders of our time, she was about to experience something that would go far beyond any act of kindness she had ever encountered. As the Dalai Lama stood before her, the energy in the room seemed to shift. It wasn't just the physical presence of this extraordinary man. It was the stillness, the profound peace that seemed to radiate from him. The Dalai Lama's teachings are rooted in the simple yet transformative power of mindfulness, compassion, and interconnectedness. And standing beside him, Selena was about to receive something far more powerful than just words of wisdom. In an intimate, almost sacred moment, His Holiness gently placed his hands on Selena's head and throat. To an observer, it might have appeared as a simple gesture, perhaps part of a photo opportunity. But for Selena, it was something entirely different. It was not just a physical touch. It was an exchange of energy, a transfer of something much deeper. His hands, resting on her, were not merely offering a blessing. They were a conduit of peace, of quiet strength, of silent wisdom. It wasn't just a moment of connection between two individuals. It was a moment of spiritual alignment. In that instant, Selena felt something shift within her. There was a sense of calm that enveloped her, a deep sense of peace and clarity. She wasn't just receiving a blessing from a revered spiritual leader. She was receiving a quiet acknowledgement of the goodness within her. The Dalai Lama, with all of his wisdom and grace, saw something in Selena. He saw the kindness, the compassion, and the potential for deep, transformative change that lay within her heart. Can you imagine the power of that moment? A single touch from someone who has spent his life embodying the very essence of compassion, someone who has dedicated himself to helping others find peace. For Selena, it was an awakening of sorts, a realization that the path she had been walking wasn't just about fame or accolades, but about a deeper mission to share light and love in the world. This was more than just a fleeting interaction. It was a sacred moment of connection, a reminder that true wisdom doesn't always come in the form of grand speeches or public acts. Sometimes, it comes in the quiet, still moments of profound presence and energy exchange. And it was in this quiet space that Selena found herself, profoundly changed and more determined than ever to continue her journey of compassion, peace, and purpose. After the encounter with the Dalai Lama, Selena shared the experience on her social media, offering her followers a glimpse into a moment that had left her deeply moved. Her caption was simple but powerful. Words of wisdom, speechless. In that short sentence, she captured the essence of what so many of us struggle to express in moments of deep emotional connection. Sometimes, the most profound experiences aren't the ones we can easily put into words. They're the ones that touch us on a level so deep, it's almost as if our hearts and minds understand the truth of it without needing to speak it out loud. For Selena, that moment wasn't just about being in the presence of an iconic figure. It was something far more intimate, something that can't be truly explained through language. It's the kind of experience that resonates with us long after it's over, quietly whispering truths that go straight to the soul. In Buddhist philosophy, these moments are referred to as direct transmission, where wisdom isn't taught through words, but is shared through a deep, unspoken understanding. The energy exchanged in that brief, silent touch was something that transcended language. Selena wasn't just receiving blessings from the Dalai Lama. She was receiving a deeper awareness of her own path, a new sense of purpose that stirred something within her. It's fascinating to think about how a single moment, a brief encounter, can completely shift the trajectory of someone's life. We often imagine life-changing experiences as dramatic events, but sometimes it's the quiet moments that hold the most power. One touch, one glance, one exchange of energy can create an awakening, something that sparks a new direction or a greater understanding. Do you believe that a single interaction can change the course of someone's life? For Selena, that moment with the Dalai Lama was just that, a spark. It wasn't just a random experience, it was the beginning of something bigger. That connection opened a door to a greater sense of purpose, one that transcended fame, public image, or personal ambition. It was a realization that her platform could be used for something much greater than herself. She had always been passionate about giving back, but now there was a deeper clarity to her mission. The encounter with the Dalai Lama became the catalyst for something more meaningful, something that would guide her actions, her choices, and her voice moving forward. In the Buddhist tradition, it's said that wisdom often comes in moments of stillness, in those spaces where we can quiet the noise of the world and listen to the truth within us. It's not always about finding the right words or seeking approval from others. It's about aligning with something larger than ourselves. For Selena, that moment with the Dalai Lama was one of those sacred moments where her soul connected with a deeper truth, a truth that would guide her journey from that point onward. But life, as we know, doesn't always unfold the way we expect, does it? Sometimes, the most innocent moments can lead to the most unexpected consequences. Just 2 years after that powerful encounter with the Dalai Lama, something surprising happened. That photo, the one that captured a moment of pure compassion and connection, resurfaced. What followed was something Selena certainly hadn't anticipated. She found herself banned from performing in China during her highly anticipated revival tour. The reason? Well, it wasn't because of anything she did wrong. It wasn't even because of any personal actions she had taken. It was because the Dalai Lama, a figure revered around the world for his message of peace and compassion, is also a political figure. His advocacy for Tibetan autonomy has been a point of tension with China for many years. So, in an instant, Selena became caught in the crossfire of international politics. This wasn't a personal attack on her character. It wasn't about her beliefs or her actions. It was simply because of her connection to a man who stood for peace. A connection that, in the world's eyes, had inadvertently stirred the pot in a much larger political context. Can you imagine the confusion, the frustration, and the hurt she must have felt in that moment? Here she was, just a young woman, striving to spread kindness and compassion through her platform, and yet, she was facing backlash for something she couldn't have predicted. It's easy to see how someone might view this situation as unfair, because in many ways, it was. She was being punished for embodying the very qualities that make the Dalai Lama so respected in the Buddhist world: compassion, love, and a commitment to peace. These qualities aren't political, they're universal. But unfortunately, the world doesn't always operate on the same principles. Sometimes, the message of peace can get tangled up in the web of politics, and innocent actions can lead to unintended consequences. But this situation also speaks to a deeper Buddhist truth, that life is full of unpredictability, and the path of compassion isn't always a smooth one. Sometimes, choosing to follow your heart and spread kindness can lead you into situations where you face resistance or even backlash. And in those moments, it can feel as if the universe is testing you. But this is where the teachings of Buddhism come in. In Buddhist philosophy, it's said that we are all interconnected, that every action, no matter how small, has the power to create ripples in the world. For Selena, this situation was a tough pill to swallow, but it also offered her an opportunity to reflect deeply. In Buddhism, we are taught to embrace adversity and to find wisdom in our struggles. It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about using them as a mirror to better understand ourselves and the world around us. Selena's experience with the Dalai Lama and the subsequent fallout from that connection would eventually serve as a reminder of the complexity of the world and the challenges that come with choosing a path of compassion. And while it might have been painful in the moment, it also opened up space for deeper understanding and growth. Here's where things take an unexpected turn. Instead of following the path most people would expect, apologizing or distancing herself from that powerful moment with the Dalai Lama, Selena chose to stay quiet. And sometimes, silence can speak louder than words. It's often in moments of silence that we discover the strength of our beliefs, the depth of our conviction. By choosing not to say anything in response to the backlash, Selena was, in a way, making a statement of her own. She wasn't running from that moment. She wasn't backing down. It was as if her silence was a quiet defiance, a message saying that she wouldn't compromise her values, not for her career, not for fame, not for any external pressure. She wasn't going to apologize for choosing compassion, for aligning herself with a figure who embodied peace and love for all beings, no matter the political consequences. And honestly, how many of us can say we would have done the same thing? How many of us, faced with such intense pressure and the real possibility of losing something we've worked so hard for, would stay true to our beliefs without wavering? It's easy to say we would, but when the stakes are high, when our livelihood is on the line, making that choice becomes incredibly difficult. What Selena did in that moment takes a remarkable amount of courage. It's one thing to talk about standing up for what you believe in, but it's something entirely different to do it when the cost is so great. In Buddhism, there is a concept called right speech, which is part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It's not just about speaking with kindness, it's about knowing when to speak, and perhaps more importantly, when to remain silent. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful form of communication. Selena's decision to stay silent wasn't about being passive. It was a deliberate act of non-reactivity, something that Buddhism teaches us as a way to find inner peace amidst chaos. In a world that demands instant responses, instant actions, and constant validation, Selena's silence was a reminder that we don't always have to react to every situation. Sometimes, the greatest strength is in our ability to be still, to reflect, and to stand firm in our convictions without saying a word. Her silence spoke volumes about her integrity and her commitment to her values. It was a powerful moment of self-respect, a reflection of the Buddhist ideal that we must never compromise our inner truth for external approval. And in a world so often driven by external forces, that kind of inner strength is rare, and it's something we can all learn from. This story isn't just about Selena. It's about something much deeper, the incredible power of compassion and the teachings that guide it. The Dalai Lama's message, though simple, is nothing short of profound. Mindfulness and compassion are the true keys to a life well lived. It's a philosophy that invites us to stop, to be still, and to reflect on how we treat not just others, but ourselves as well. In a world that's constantly moving, always busy, it's easy to forget about compassion for others and, most importantly, for ourselves. We give so much of our energy to work, to social media, to keeping up with the demands of everyday life, that we forget what it means to be kind to ourselves. But here's the secret the Dalai Lama shares with us. Compassion isn't just about what we do for others. It's about how we nurture ourselves in the process. Think about it. In today's world, where everything moves so fast, where we're constantly overwhelmed by messages, emails, tasks, and expectations, doesn't the idea of slowing down, of finding peace within ourselves, sound like a secret we all desperately need to hear? We live in an era where self-care is often reduced to fleeting moments or short-lived resolutions. Yet true compassion requires us to take the time to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to simply be present in the moment. Imagine how much more connected we could be to the world around us if we took the time to practice mindfulness, just a few moments each day to check in with ourselves, to tune into our thoughts, and to let go of the pressures that cloud our minds. Mindfulness teaches us to be fully present, to listen deeply, and to act with intention and awareness. It's not just about being aware of the world, it's about being aware of our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. And then there's compassion, true, deep compassion, the kind that doesn't come from obligation, but from a genuine desire to make the world a better place. It's easy to extend compassion to others, but how often do we extend that same kindness to ourselves? True compassion means showing up for yourself, being patient with your flaws, forgiving your mistakes, and offering yourself the same kindness you would give a friend. When we practice compassion for ourselves, it becomes easier to share it with the world. Selena's encounter with the Dalai Lama and the wisdom he shared is a powerful reminder that mindfulness and compassion aren't just abstract concepts. They are life-changing practices, simple yet transformative. And in this fast-paced world, where everything is pulling us in 1,000 different directions, the secret may be in slowing down, tuning in, and embracing a life led by love and awareness. It's not just about finding peace outside, it's about creating it within. Selena's struggles with anxiety and depression have been a part of her story for years. She's been open about how, at the peak of her fame, she faced a battle that many could never imagine. The weight of constant public scrutiny, the pressure to be perfect, and the overwhelming feeling of never being enough. In 2016, she made the difficult decision to step away from her career to focus on her mental health. For someone who had grown up in the spotlight, it wasn't just a break. It was a life-changing moment of self-reflection. But something shifted when she met the Dalai Lama. It wasn't just another celebrity encounter. It was a moment of deep connection, one that would change the way Selena viewed herself and her life. Through the Dalai Lama's teachings, Selena discovered the Buddhist secret of inner peace and self-compassion. This wasn't just a concept or a set of words. It became a guiding principle that would help her navigate the complexities of life, fame, and mental health. Imagine how powerful that must have felt for Selena, to realize that true happiness and peace don't have to come from external sources, whether it's the validation of fans, the approval of the public, or the pressures of success. Instead, it comes from within. It's the recognition that the only approval that truly matters is your own. That peace is found in the quiet moments of self-reflection, in giving yourself permission to rest, to heal, and to be kind to yourself. In Buddhism, the practice of self-compassion is central. It's the idea that we cannot truly love others or help others if we do not first love and care for ourselves. By accepting our flaws, by being patient with our struggles, and by allowing ourselves the grace to simply be human, we can begin to find peace. Selena's encounter with the Dalai Lama helped her see that the external world doesn't define her worth. It was a profound lesson, a reminder that we don't need to seek approval from others to feel whole. For someone like Selena, who has spent much of her life being judged, this realization must have been incredibly freeing. To know that happiness isn't contingent on what others think, but rather on how we view ourselves, how we treat ourselves in moments of weakness, and how we embrace our vulnerabilities. That is the ultimate Buddhist secret. Peace comes from within, and it's a peace that no external factor can take away. This shift in perspective didn't just help Selena cope with her struggles. It gave her a new sense of strength. And perhaps, in a way, it gave her a new sense of purpose. To show others that mental health is not something to be ashamed of, and that true peace can only be found when we stop looking outside of ourselves for validation. In an industry that thrives on perfection and an unrelenting pace, Selena's decision to step back from her career and prioritize her mental health was nothing short of radical. It wasn't just about taking time off. It was a powerful act of self-compassion. In a world where fame often demands constant performance and the appearance of flawless success, Selena chose to be real with herself. She chose to be authentic, even when it meant stepping away from the spotlight. The Dalai Lama has always taught that in order to truly help others, we must first help ourselves. His teachings on self-compassion and mindfulness stress that taking care of our own well-being isn't a selfish act. It's necessary if we want to give the best of ourselves to the world. And Selena's decision was a living example of this. She didn't just keep pushing through her struggles because of the expectations of others. She didn't sacrifice her mental health for the sake of her career. Instead, she chose to pause, to breathe, and to focus on healing. That's something truly radical in today's world. We live in a society that often prioritizes productivity over personal peace, and where success is measured by the number of achievements and how quickly we can accomplish them. In that kind of environment, stepping back to focus on your mental health feels like an act of rebellion. But isn't that the true Buddhist secret? The idea that we don't need to constantly strive to prove ourselves to the world. Sometimes, the most courageous thing we can do is stop, reflect, and make the conscious choice to care for our mind, body, and spirit. The truth is, we all face moments in our lives when we have to choose between what others expect of us and what we know is best for our own well-being. How often do we find ourselves caught in the web of expectations, telling ourselves that we have to keep going, no matter the cost? We push through exhaustion, stress, and anxiety because we fear judgment, because we fear letting others down. But what if we reframed that fear? What if we embrace the idea that putting our health first is not a weakness, it's actually a form of strength? Selena's story teaches us that self-care is not about avoiding responsibility or turning away from the world. It's about finding balance and knowing when to step back so that we can be our best selves, not just for others, but for ourselves too. This is one of the most important lessons from the Buddhist philosophy. To care for our mental and emotional health is not just about self-preservation, but about nurturing the well-being that allows us to truly show up for others. In a world that often measures success by how much we can do, Selena's act of choosing herself reminds us that real strength lies in knowing when to rest, when to reflect, and when to reconnect with our true purpose. Facing criticism and public backlash was no easy feat for Selena, but she didn't allow it to break her spirit. Instead of hiding from the judgment and negativity, she used it as fuel to amplify her message. It wasn't just about the superficial aspects of her career. It was about the deeper mission that she had come to embrace. Selena began speaking out more passionately about the importance of mental health, kindness, and compassion, staying true to the values she had found through her encounter with the Dalai Lama. Her message was clear and simple, but incredibly powerful. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle, to feel lost, and to need help. In a world that demands perfection and constant achievement, Selena chose to be vulnerable. She chose to break the silence around mental health and to normalize conversations about personal well-being. The Buddhist principle of self-compassion encourages us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to others. And that's exactly what Selena was doing. Rather than retreating or apologizing for the controversy over her connection with the Dalai Lama, she stayed firm in her beliefs. She refused to let a single moment or the disapproval of others define her. Instead of letting the ban from China, an obstacle that could have shattered her, hold her back, Selena chose to let it fuel her growth. She embraced the discomfort of the situation as an opportunity to deepen her commitment to her mission. This is a crucial lesson from Buddhist philosophy. Sometimes the challenges we face are not punishments, but opportunities for growth. It's so easy to shy away from discomfort, to want to avoid the pain and the struggle. But the truth is, it's often in those very moments of hardship that we find our deepest strength. In the face of adversity, we have the chance to expand our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Selena's journey teaches us that growth often comes from stepping into the unknown and embracing discomfort. She didn't allow the noise of the world to drown out her inner voice. Instead of shrinking away from the challenge, she leaned into it, finding deeper meaning and clarity in her mission to inspire others. Her story reminds us that even when we feel broken, even when we face rejection, we can still rise and turn those experiences into stepping stones on the path to something greater. Selena's encounter with the Dalai Lama wasn't just a brief moment caught in time. It was a profound reminder of the transformative power of his teachings. It wasn't about the photo op or the applause that followed. It was about something deeper, something that reached beyond the surface. In that moment, Selena came face to face with a guiding philosophy that had the potential to change her life. The Dalai Lama's presence wasn't just a celebrity encounter. It was a living embodiment of the Buddhist secret, the power of mindfulness and compassion. In a world where we're constantly told to chase success, fame, and validation, the Dalai Lama's message is a stark contrast. He teaches us to slow down, to breathe, to take a moment, and be fully present. It's about embracing the practice of mindfulness, which is not just a trendy term, it's a way of being. Mindfulness means living in the moment, without getting lost in the past, or anxiously waiting for the future. It's about accepting our struggles and acknowledging our imperfections without judgment. For Selena, this wasn't just some fleeting, glamorous moment. It was a turning point. She understood that true peace doesn't come from external validation or the approval of others. It comes from within. It comes from aligning yourself with your values and being true to who you are, even when the world is watching. That's a powerful realization, isn't it? To know that no matter what the world may think of you, you can still find peace in your own heart. The Buddhist secret, in its purest form, is to live with an open heart, unafraid to love, to fail, and to rise again. It's about understanding that the path to enlightenment isn't easy. It's not a quick fix, and it's not always pretty. But every step, every moment of discomfort, brings us closer to inner peace. And isn't that what we all long for in some way? A life that feels centered, peaceful, and purposeful. The question is, could we all benefit from living with this kind of awareness? Imagine how different our lives could be if we made mindfulness and compassion a daily practice. If we learned to embrace our struggles as opportunities for growth instead of obstacles. What if we stopped chasing the applause and instead focused on cultivating inner peace and authenticity? That, I believe, is the real secret to living a meaningful life. And it's something we can all learn, just like Selena did. So, what can we truly take from Selena's journey and the wisdom of the Dalai Lama's teachings? It's easy to think this is just another celebrity story, another fleeting encounter with a world-famous figure. But when you look deeper, you'll see that it's really about the choices we make in our own lives. How do we respond when faced with challenges? How do we navigate the pressures of the world around us? Selena's path wasn't paved with easy choices. She could have easily chosen comfort over courage, retreating back into the safe, controlled environment of fame and public approval. But instead, she chose to embrace something much more difficult, the truth of her own experience, her own struggles, and the courage to take a step back when she needed to. In a world that constantly pushes us to perform, to deliver, to be something we're not, Selena's decision to prioritize her mental health was a radical act of self-compassion. It's a reminder that true strength comes not from pushing through everything, but from acknowledging our vulnerability and honoring our need for rest and renewal. But it's not just about taking care of ourselves. Selena's story also speaks to the importance of standing by our values, even when it's not easy, even when the world might not understand. She could have backed down after the backlash. She could have apologized for her encounter with the Dalai Lama to avoid the controversy. But she didn't. Instead, she remained silent, showing that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stay true to our beliefs, even in the face of adversity. The Dalai Lama teaches us that compassion is the key to everything. But it's not just compassion for others, it's compassion for ourselves as well. In this fast-paced, sometimes harsh world, we are often taught to focus on success and achievement, to place others' needs above our own. But what if we paused for a moment and shifted our focus? What if we chose compassion, mindfulness, and authenticity as our guiding principles, just as Selena did? The Buddhist secret is not some grand, esoteric concept. It's simple, yet profound. It's about being present, about accepting our imperfections, about showing kindness to ourselves and to others. It's about understanding that the path to true growth, to making a real difference in the world, is not linear. It's messy, it's full of setbacks, and it's filled with moments of discomfort. But in those moments of discomfort, we find the potential for transformation. Selena's story is a beautiful reminder that the real secret to living a meaningful, fulfilling life lies in embracing compassion, authenticity, and mindfulness. These are the values that can guide us all, no matter what we're facing. So, what will we choose in our own lives? Will we choose comfort over courage, fear over compassion, or will we, like Selena, choose to stand by our values, no matter what? That's the true Buddhist secret.